Yes. So the first point is that emotions are the doorway and pathways into your system, into your inner self, your true self, right? So when we look at suffering through emotions, you will see that almost everyone has all emotions, and everyone has been through all the emotions, right? So then we will understand that it is not my personal suffering, it is actually the common suffering everyone has, right? Just like you go out and breathe air in New York, and it's not your air, it's everyone's air, everyone suffers, right? So, in a similar way, everyone goes through positives and negatives, and as you grow higher, your negative emotions will keep on rising, right? And your positive emotions will keep on falling. So your suffering will keep on rising as you age, unless otherwise you're working and going through certain program like this, right? So on a higher level, we go through love, we go through compassion, we go through affection, we go through care, we go through um, moments of security, right? So we go through security is opposite of being feeling unsafe, insecure. So we go through so many positive emotions, and we also go through negative emotions like worthlessness, loneliness, powerlessness, hopelessness, and so on, right? So negative emotions cause negative experiences, positive emotions cause positive emotions, positive experiences, and there is no one who has no emotions, right? So some people say they don't have emotion, it is just that they've suppressed it. They were successful in getting and living in their thoughts. If such a person says like that, just ask him or her, do you get gaps in your thoughts, right? That person will keep on chattering, keep on talking internally, even when he's alone, without a gap, right? Even meditation, they will be talking. Even in prayer time, they'll be talking inside, right? There's no silence inside, not even a moment, right? Then some people learn meditation, they learn somehow, and they learn how to silence the mind through meditation. But then when they enter into meditation, they calm down, but when they come out of meditation, they are the same old person with all sorts of thoughts and emotions, right? So that in that way, if you see, you will know that everyone is suffering in a very similar way. It's in different proportions. Maybe you have more hopelessness, another person has got more powerlessness, another person has got less worthlessness, right? So it may vary, intensity may vary, frequency may vary. Yes, maybe you've been through much deeper suffering, another person has been through much lesser suffering, but still they also have been through hopelessness, they also have been through worthlessness, right? They also have been through lovelessness. So several emotions that are there in on the negative spectrum side, they also have felt at some point in their lives. That is when you impersonalize your suffering, right? So you don't say like somebody did this to me, or some my life did this to me and I'm suffering, right? You can say that if I'm a human being, if I'm born into such a body, then I have suffering. There's no person who has no suffering, right? Have you ever found anyone who has no suffering? No. Have you ever found any perfect relationship? No, right? There's no one like who's loving all the time. In movies, we see that like happily living ever after, right? So they show like they both get together and then have. So we assume that thereafter they never had any problems. And also movies, they show heroes who have no negative thoughts or feelings, right? They show like the how do you say, dream like superheroes, right? Who has no negative thoughts or negative feelings. So we see keep on watching such movies and we think that there are some people who does not have such feelings, right? That's how we actually get out of the normality. But yeah, when you go deep into spirituality, there's a different world there, but I'm speaking about the general people, right? And then we have these suffering. So we have one, so once we move into acceptance of all these emotions, then we are left with our system, right? So just like we have skin, under skin we have flesh, under flesh we have muscles, right? Inside muscles we have bones. There's no human being who is having some other way, right? Everyone has the same thing, right? Everyone has a heart. Same way, everyone has got physical body, right? Otherwise you wouldn't be here. If you have a physical body, everyone has energy body, which is a sheath around the physical body. Everyone has a mental, emotional layer, wisdom layer. Everyone has self. Everyone has mind, thoughts. Everyone has intellect, right? Everyone has judgment going on in their mind, lack of forgiveness, insensitivity, which happens in the bliss body. And then everyone, once they traverse through these layers, can enter into your true self where there is no suffering. So if you remove the suffering, then you remove your guidelines, the guide rails. You can lose track, right? So spirituality actually is not about removing or reducing suffering, right? It is not about entering into a space where there's no suffering or there are no problems. We're using the suffering to go through them. Just like, if there are clouds, right? And if you want to see sun, if there are clouds, we have to go through them, right? To see the sun. Same way, we are covered with emotions. So we have to go through emotions to see the divine internally. So if you remove the suffering, then we don't have the guidelines, so we can get lost in life. People are also there to reflect our suffering to us, right? So the first teaching I would say that we can give today, which is normal teaching every day we talk about, is other is our reflection. Anyone. So if you see from emotional perspective, every person is a reflection of you. Emotional reflection. So if we, let's say, if we fall in love, we assume that that person has got certain qualities that I don't have, and that person is such a beautiful person and he does not have much hatred towards me and he will love me forever and all of this, right? But if you apply this theory, you will know that other is a reflection. That means the next person who's going to come to you into your life is also going to reflect you the same suffering to you, right? You would have noticed that if you change partners, you will see this, right? So we have a wrong expectation. We have wrong expectation about life. So another way to see it is, yes, next person who's going to come to me is also my spiritual partner, and that person's responsibility is to show my dirt to me, and in that way I become aware. Is you talk about awareness. So awareness is actually the people who are around you, they give you the triggers for awareness, right? So in that way we fall in love with their negatives, because we first thing is, other is your reflection. That means that they have the same negatives as you have, right? Whatever negatives you have, the other will also have, right? Maybe in different proportions. Yeah, maybe he has less hatred, maybe you have more hatred, maybe you have more anger and he has less anger, but there is anger and there is hatred, there is hurt and there is jealousy, right? It is there. So then acceptance happens. Then you're open. Okay, now tell me, what can I do about all of this, right? All my suffering, right? So you will actually learn that you don't have to do anything about your suffering. You don't have to remove your emotions or thoughts or negativities, right? You don't have to go through a lifelong process of making yourself right, cleaning yourself up and expecting that at some point you're going to be completely clean, right? These are all some form of expectations. Some people are putting it, I don't know who are putting it, it's not written in any scriptures, right? Yes, when you go through spiritual progress, it's a different story. I'm speaking about general people who are going through general lifestyle, right? Majority of the population. I'm not speaking about spiritual people who are not spiritual in the general way, but I'm talking about the saints and sages, how what they go through, right, is different from what general people go through. So that's so Yeah, so that's the teaching. That's the second teaching, which is you are layers of, we said koshas. I'm not getting the right English. Koshas. So we have sheets around us. Not that we have, here we have body and outside we have energy body. Our body and energy body is intertwined together. Every cell has got all koshas in it. It's not like a cell is a physical body and then energy body is different. Every cell is having an energy uh, component also. So they're not like separate parts. Everything is intertwined and connected, right? So in that way, we actually look in a different way. The third point I would like to say is that suffering, yes, we said suffering becomes a pathway, right? Or a guide rail to your true self. Okay? We do not have to remove suffering. Okay? We talked about relationships, right? Or I didn't write that. So that's the fourth. Relationships are to reflect our, I can say shadows, right? A nice word. Not to treat us well. We always want treat me well, right? Not to treat you well. I'm not saying don't treat well, but it's kind of designed in a way that relationships are bound to be reflecting. Hmm? So then we also learned that life is also a reflection. This is where wealth comes in. Reflection of our emotions. Okay. Now, before life, I would like also to talk about mind. Okay. So mind is also, I would say mind is driven by emotions, right? So I can say all mental illnesses are driven by emotions. Okay. So that's the fifth teaching today. So we speak about mental illness. I just met a person, like a girl, 3 days back, 2 days back, and she said that she is having anxiety problems, right? And she names it like anxiety disorder. And then I said, yeah, why not come into the programs, come into meditation? Like, yeah, I have my own ways of healing. And also when it's too high, I just have a medicine and then it goes. Yeah. Then she said about the medicine also. She's recommending me, if you have this medicine, then you don't have anxiety anymore. Right? Yes. I said it has got side effects. No. It does not have side effects. We just reduces, and then I just have once a week or something, so it's not bad. So she's like having once a week now, and after 10 years she'll have 10 a week, right? So why there's mental illness? Due to some other problem, or my hereditary reason, right? My father had, my mother had, grandmother had. So then I also have the same anxiety disorder, same PTSD, ADHD, whatever you call, right? So if we take a mental illness, we take anxiety, for example, it is a series of non-stop negative thoughts, right? A day you can have 100,000 negative thoughts if you have anxiety as a disorder, with no gap for anything else, right? Such a person will live inside some house, no one will know also. I knew a person who is very highly spiritual, who has attended some programs of mine, maybe like 2 3 programs, and she went through spiritual anxiety. Then she went through some experiences which she didn't understand, and then she started having spiritual fears, like, oh my god, negative energy is coming from there. Oh, my father is negative, my mother is negative, that person is negative, that house is negative, my house is also negative. And she separated from parents, and she sent them out, and she is living, and then she says positive things also. She says energy is so high here, it's very divine place. I can't take it anymore. So I'm going down and living in my basement. And she lived in the basement for 6 months. And she didn't tell me at all. Right. And then after 6 months, she's sending me a message. I like to meet you and I need some help. I said, you can send me a text in 6 minutes, right? When you have all this. And yeah, and it will be solved in 6 hours max. You don't have to spend six months under the basement. Then I say, oh, I'm going to give you blessing. I'm going to give you energy. Then it will go. She said, don't give me any energy because the moment energy comes, my system will go boom. So everything is fear of spiritual stuff, right? So some people who are going through spiritual process, they say, oh, she's been through tons of cleansings. She's a psychologist. She's a professional psychologist, right? She's done, I don't know, hundreds of counselings for people. She's an expert in emotional cleansing herself, right? But when it comes to mental disorders, they go wild, right? And she has no clue how she can connect it to emotions, right? So that's one thing. That is, all mental illnesses can be cured if we follow the science, which is written in our scriptures, which we have evidences for everything that we say, and researches has been done professionally in universities, and it is proved. Everything here is proven by actual professors and researchers in American universities, right? So we cannot. Nothing of this is new. I can show you hundreds of scholarly articles on this. So there's no like new things we are giving. It's just science we are providing, right? So thoughts and mental problems also is connected to emotions. And whenever we have such problems, please enter into the program the same day. We have every day program, right? Every day we have some program going on. At least weekly once you'll be able to have live session with me. So I promise that within 2 hours you'll get breakthrough. Okay. Whenever you come for a process like this, not the webinars. Webinars information. And we don't talk about only knowledge, right? So I can say 6 teaching is knowledge fires that, right? So more knowledge you have, the more problems you have. Okay. So when a person comes to tells me like I've read 500 books on spiritual, 1,000 books on 1,000 scriptures, I read 100,000 verses in scriptures, I'd be like, he's doomed, he's done. Now we can do nothing about it. But outside, I'd be like, really, you're such a great person. Like, congratulations, please teach people and all this. Right? So knowledge we need for the experience we are going through. Right? So once you're going through, like the lady who's going through the anxiety, she needs a knowledge about anxiety, how to go through it and get liberated in maximum 2 hours, not 6 months or 2 years. 2 hours, and then following the certain signs. Because if she does it widely, like many people, they do it like this. Oh, I know, a method. I just sit quietly, breathe in, breathe out. After 1 hour, something happens, some light comes in, everything goes out, and then I'm happy. Right? So then the problem with such people is, if you ask them, okay, help me also, they'll be like, yeah, just sit down here, I'll do meditation. Something is going to happen, something will come in, and something is going to go out sometime. Right? So that is unprofessional people. It's like, going to a surgeon, and surgeon will say, I'm going to put knife somewhere in you, and something is going to be coming out. Right? So that's what knowledge is. Right? Knowledge means, for that particular suffering that you have today, right? Today you have suffering. For that particular suffering, what can you do to come out of it? Right? Basically, you cannot do anything. That's the truth. But you can get help for it. And once you come out of it, how you can share that knowledge, success story, to another person, so that you can help the other person also. Right? So that knowledge is okay. That's enough. You don't go too fast in your knowledge. Okay. Now the seventh teaching is life is a reflection, right? Which means that's when emotions and wealth come in, right? Life is a reflection of, again, your emotions. Which emotions? Unconscious emotions. I'm not speaking about the emotions that you know about you. Okay, maybe you would not have felt those emotions in the last I don't know, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. So you forgot even that you have, for example, fear, right? All of that. Hmm? So you live in your thoughts, and so you don't even know that you have emotion. There are so many people who come and tell me I don't feel any other emotions. I only feel like, you know, I feel empathy for people, and I want to help people. That's what I like to do in life. I have no problem. What's your suffering? No, no suffering. I have no suffering. Like others are suffering, I'm going to help them, right? So I'm speaking about unconscious emotions in the whole teaching. Okay, those unconscious emotions that you do not know, or the emotions that are under the experiences that you already know, or the emotions that you knew but you left it small, right? Left a few small micro emotions. Hmm? Maybe you dealt with a thousand, if it's 1 to 1,000, if you can scale, like fear, you had this particular experience, 1,000, 0 to 1,000, 1,000 fear you had, extremely high. Yes, you went through some form of healing and you reduced it to 500, then you reduced it to 200, then 100, then you left, you were able to able to get it down to 50. Then maybe you left some 10 there. That 10 will have power to produce 100 more experiences of similar nature, right? So that cleanup only in these programs you can have. That's why we have programs, because in programs we design in a way that we can do micro cleaning, right? So that's why you need help. Like, so I've been, like, for example, I've been trying to help with my lower back pain, which is muscular pain, with myself, right? So I've been going through healings, and then I conducted program, like 28 days program in December. So I thought I will do the healing by myself, and I'm not going to go to anyone for help. And it didn't work, right? Yes, I healed, but it was still remaining. Then last day, 3 days back, I went to chiropractor, and then she did some things, like in a few minutes, right? 5 minutes maybe. She placed some things in place, released some muscular spasms, and immediately I feel a lot better. What I did in 28 days was maybe a fraction of what she could do in 5 minutes, right? Because I'm going to an expert who knows how to deal with the body, right? Who is professionally trained. Right? So same way, when you come here, you are getting professionally trained healing. You are also going to be professionally trained to help people out. So you speak about leading, about having the desire to help people by healing, right? You like to heal people. So you will get in the future, when you go through these programs, you will get training even to heal people. Hmm? You will get the science behind it and all this. Hmm? So why life have has got problems is because of your past decisions runs your life, right? And present, I would say subsequent decisions deflect your life, right? Deflection happens, so that also you don't know, right? For example, you went you had a partner, and you went through certain kind of heated arguments, hot argument, right? You lived with him for like 3 years, and one day he's not respecting you at all, and then you went into major argument. But externally you'll maybe really nice, internally you decide this person is not respecting me anymore, this is done, she is out of my life forever, I don't want such a person, right? He is in on his way, I'm on my way. Then 3 days later you back again with together with him, right? So then you're like, oh my god, what stupid decisions I made, right? He's actually a good person, it was just his unconscious emotions, or uncontrolled emotions, some not reasons which are not his fault. Due to those reasons he did like that, maybe he was under alcohol, right? or his father also is like this. So some reasons, right? Mm, he is doing this. So you found a reason, or you found a reason for yourself, and then you say that I did a foolish thing, and you forget about it. But then your life will listen to that decision, because that was like taken at a high intensity, very high intense emotional time. You made this decision, like, I'm going to break up with this person, right? And then after the 3 years, maybe after 5 years, 6 years, 10 years, even 20 years, that decision will start splitting you up, right? It'll set things in you so that you can be separate. So that's how that's why life goes out of control and you don't know about it. So what do we do about it, right? I'm talking about unconscious decision. You don't know about them. Right. So unconscious decisions, same thing if you take in at your workplace, same thing happens. Right? So this pattern that you have will get reflected at work also, or business. Then you enter into relationship problems, sometimes internally only, right? Outside you really behaved well, but your boss like suppressed you. So you were like really nice to your boss, but internally you went through this battle and you made decisions. That decisions will be listened by life, and life will start manifesting it for you, right? Then later on you'll be like, this person is now different. I'm having some bad lucks, things are not falling in place for me. There are a few negative things happening, maybe because of that, maybe because of this, astrological reasons, hereditary reasons, others reasons, company reasons, economy reasons, health reasons. So many reasons we'll find, right? To blame on, but actually it's our unconscious decision that drives our life. Hmm? That's something which we are going to do today. Means we are going to see when we took those decisions, and what are the emotions that are powering those decisions, because those decisions themselves don't have power, but the emotion behind the decision has power, and those emotions are powered by your shadow self, false self, right? So that's why it is yours only. Hmm? So that we will see. So what will happen is it will lose its power in your life when we do the process. It'll still be there, but it'll lose its power. And then it'll shut off. When after a long time, it'll just wither away. Okay. So that's how you're going to do the manifestation. And then of course, you can do all your law of attraction visualizations and all after you go through the process. So we are going to be going through the a process to see where we took those unconscious decisions in the unconscious times, in the unconscious past, but you'll be able to see it very clearly. Excuse me. And then we'll do the process for it, and then you will get the liberation. Means that that decision won't drive your life. You can make new decisions. Then yes, once you make the new decision, you can go and apply your law of attraction visualization, whatever, it will start working. Okay. But remember, the perception that you see life is different from today, right? We spoke about a holistic perception. You're seeing yourself like a whole, right? And then you're going, if you see yourself as a body, then it's like you're dealing with only with your skin, right? You assume there's nothing else inside, but there are a lot of things inside, right? a lot of blood vessels and millions of nerves, billions of neurons. So many things are there inside. But if we assume only the skin is us, then it's a foolishness. Same way, if we assume only body is us, it's a foolishness. So we speak about the body, energy, mental, emotional, wisdom, mind, then intellect, all of these layers, right? And then finally we enter into a true self. The true self is hidden deep inside you. So whatever we do, we are doing not to make us feel better or not to manifest life and receive more wealth or money or fame or promotion, whatever. We are not doing it only for that. We're doing it for a higher purpose, which is through every suffering, every emotion, I fall into bliss. Within a few minutes or maximum like a few hours, actually few seconds, you can do it if you learn the art, right? Today we are not going to that going not going to go into that depth, but then we are actually running the process for that purpose, not to remove and then let you be feeling blissful all the time and all of it. So we don't give such promises. But yes, there are advanced spiritual programs. When you come in, you will enter into such spaces where you will possibility have the possibility to move into such states, but that's not part of today's program. Right. So let me see anything else is left on the